Hey everyone, good morning to you. Thanks for being with us for a CBS 8 Plus extended forecast. We are watching for strong, gusty, easterly winds. Those are offshore Santa Ana winds. And we're also watching for low relative humidity, high fire danger, critical fire danger is what the National Weather Service is saying out there amid multiple 1,000-acre plus fires burning up in the LA area. In San Diego, we're watching for the same types of weather conditions out there. Haven't seen those fires pop up in our county that cause the same level of concern, but it's something we'll be watching for because this wind event is not over yet. Remember, we are on the heels of months and months of dry skies across San Diego County. We could use the rain. We don't have any in the forecast currently. So because of this perfect storm, this perfect set of ingredients, very dry brush out there, low relative humidity, and intense winds, we've got multiple hazards to watch for. Now through Thursday, most intense stretch is going to be late from last night, really through this AM and into this afternoon. After this afternoon, winds start to die down. Thursday, we see the expiration of that red flag warning, so we've got some time on it. We'll dive into the depth of all of this over the course of the next several minutes. But the need to know here is that difficult driving conditions are possible over the mountain passes, especially toward the passes, but even close to the valley floors, coastline, you might notice some difficulty. Down trees and power lines, we on our website have more information, cbs8.com, about those possible power shutoffs that power companies are doing, simply because if a power line were to go down, those flames could spread very rapidly. And then, of course, have an evacuation plan in place. LA is the perfect example of how these fires can start at a moment's notice and spread without any concern for life or property. Those flames just fan out and spread over the course of thousands of acres in hours. So you need to have an evacuation plan in place. Talking about San Diego County specifically, we've got our peak wind gusts close to North County, mainly around Palomar Mountain, moving up to about the Temecula areas where we clocked in at 68 miles per hour. Very intense wind gusts. Pine Valley, 60 miles per hour. Cuyamaca, 59. And in Alpine, pretty densely populated, 46 miles per hour. So some of these spots, you don't have as many people located, mainly just mountain passes, so people driving over the freeways, the 8 freeway, for example. However, when we look towards Santee, Pine Valley, Alpine, all areas where you have plenty, thousands of people located, you have to factor in how intense these wind gusts are. Up around Orange County, very intense wind gusts as well, and that's why the entirety of the southwestern U.S., really Southern California, encompassed in this red flag warning. It stretches from Santa Barbara all the way down through the international border. You can see how that spans Ventura County, LA County, Orange County, Riverside, San Bernardino counties, very much included in this intense wind. So you got those gusty easterly winds, and then of course low relative humidity that we're going to be watching for, down to about 10% or less over the course of the day. We saw that these winds started yesterday, and that was the big concern, is as these fires began, this was just the beginning stage of this single Santa Ana wind event. It is not expected to fully come to a close until late Friday, though we will get a little bit of a lull on Thursday. And that's why currently that red flag warning is set to expire at 6 p.m. on Thursday. There's a possibility, and in fact a likelihood, that we see it either extended or issued again separately for Friday. So late Thursday into Friday, we've got more intense wind gusts on the way. We'll watch for that. The National Weather Service makes that call, depending on how intense our humidity values are, how low they are, and how intense those wind speeds are. Zooming into San Diego County, we've got a high wind warning that spans across a good portion of the area as well. That expires at 6 p.m. today on Wednesday. We've got speeds between 30 and 40 miles per hour. Those are your sustained speeds. Those do not stop. And then your gusts, those quick bursts of energy, 65 miles per hour. Isolated gusts could reach up to 75. I mean, we already saw us pass over that 65 mile per hour marker up around the Temecula area and up around Malibu, Pacific Palisades. I mean, those are areas where we have already seen those gusts upwards of 80, even 90 miles per hour. So Malibu, Santa Monica, all areas where there is a very clear reason why those flames have been able to spread so fast. We have crews from across the state traveling to Los Angeles to try to battle those flames, with over 30,000 people under evacuation orders. Here in San Diego, we've got thousands of people without power because those power companies have preemptively turned off power. If those power lines were to go down, they could start a fire very rapidly. All right, let's jump into it here. We've got your wind gust forecast on the screen. First off, wind direction coming from the east. That's warm, dry air. Across Borrego Springs by 1:45 today, 30 plus miles per hour, 40 plus miles per hour in Pine Valley, Campo, Palomar Mountain near 40 miles per hour. Even in Ramona, 26, Fallbrook, 32. Let's push on from this afternoon and this evening, where winds are essentially at their peak, and then go all the way through your early Thursday. Winds die down here. So this is what we're talking about, where we get a little bit of a lull, a break in the intense wind speeds. Down trees, down power lines, gives a chance for those first responders to respond immediately and to tackle any flames. This is going to be a pivotal time, Thursday morning and afternoon, for fire crews to try to get the upper hand on a lot of these flames. As we head through Thursday night, however, take a look. Those wind speeds pick right back up. We're at 36 miles per hour in Julian and Pine Valley. This is 11:30 on Thursday night, tomorrow night. Going into early Friday, those winds are going to stay breezy and then die down again by late Friday, early Saturday is the hope. Also, one thing to latch onto, it's still a little far out, is the possibility that these winds will shift back onshore. These arrows now pointing from the water toward the coast. This would improve our humidity levels substantially. That's all cool, moist air from the ocean traveling onshore. Would be a big improvement that we'll watch for. Also want to talk about what we see as far as your wildfire danger out there. So what I want to hone in on is that around the LA area, that's where air quality is the worst. But you kind of saw it in that window. It moved fast, but possibilities of that smoke moving south, because while the prominent wind direction is mainly coming from the northeast, if we lose that easterly component and winds are coming from the north, that means all the smoke to the north of us drifts in our direction. So I'll actually run this forward for you one more time, where you could see that smoke drifting to Orange County and then now across San Diego County by about Thursday is what we're looking at. So tomorrow we see the possibility of more wildfire smoke in our area. You'll notice that kind of blanket layer of haze on the horizon. If you are part of a susceptible group for health dangers, you should be wearing that mask and maybe avoiding time outside. So right now, we're seeing that parts of the county are under that unhealthy for some groups range. Up in the LA area, much worse, just hazardous air quality out there. One clear way to show how that air quality is degraded and how that warm, dry air is coming from the east of us is looking at your afternoon high temperatures. So normally, we'd see, unsurprisingly, our deserts as one of the warmest spots in the county. That would be 70, 80 degrees perhaps, whereas along the coast, normal would be low 60s. Instead, we've flipped that around, and that's because that easterly flow, Santa Ana wind event, is pulling all of that warm and dry air from the deserts. It's coming over the mountaintops, and what happens is as it compresses over the mountaintops, it has to rise over the mountains and then pass down the back end. Not only does it pick up speed in the process, which is why a lot of our eastern valleys toward the mountaintops, the western slopes of the mountains, are seeing the most intense wind because that wind is coming down the back end of the mountain. But also, we notice that that warm, dry air has to go somewhere, so it's headed to the coast. Temperatures along the coast and inland are about 5 to 10 degrees warmer than where they typically would be, a high of 75 degrees in Oceanside. So if you are taking away the fire component and the wind component, you look at a beautiful day in San Diego. Sunshine, warmth, mild temperatures, feels like summer out there. But we have to factor in not only that reduced air quality, but what fire crews are going through on the front lines, the many thousands of people without power, many thousands of people under mandatory evacuations. So it's this push and pull that we have out there. Sure, we can celebrate these warm temperatures, but we have to remember what comes along with them. 75 in Oceanside, 73 in Carlsbad this afternoon, 73 in Miramar, 68 in Ramona, and then what do you know? Cooler temperatures across the mountains and deserts, because those are the microclimates that would normally have held on to their warmth, now seeing it pulled toward the coastline. The question on hand that everyone is asking is, what will this look like moving forward, right? So we talked about how through Thursday, we'll have a lot of those alerts active, the high wind warning and red flag warning, possibility that we see extensions through Friday. Since we haven't seen those extensions yet, we've highlighted today and tomorrow in red because these are weather impact alert days. These are days where you have a lot going on, and it's important to have that go bag ready, to take caution traveling over the mountain passes, to check in on your neighbors, of course, especially any friends and family up around the LA area, all the way through Ventura County, Orange County, seeing those intense wind gusts, San Bernardino like we covered. When we watch this wind event come to a close, it's mainly going to be on Friday, we'll see those temperatures slide back to their normal range. So we'll go from the upper 60s and low 70s out there back down to the mid 60s. 64 is about average for San Diego County. That's what we'd expect close to the coastline. And we're going to get back to that range by Saturday. Notice we are on the heels of a very, very dry stretch of weather. We've talked about our water year so far, bringing us next to nothing. That's since October 1st. So since October 1st now through the start of January, we've had no major rain event that has hit us to allow for that fuel, that very dry brush out there to get wet. We need wet ground. We need that vegetation to get the water that it needs to have a bit more moisture to fight those flames. When it's dry as it is, just bone dry out there, it latches on. Those fires spread simply like wildfire. So when we go through next week, we continue to hold on to these dry skies. That's not a good thing for our fire crews. Although this wind event might come to a close on Friday, they're still going to stay on high alert up until we get a notable amount of rain in the forecast. And currently, we have all of our models taking us through the next 7, 10, 12 days with still no chance of rain in sight. Those models can change and probably will. But 10 to 12 days out, that's where we're a bit more uncertain. But 7 at least here, looks like we're holding on to the dry, sunny skies out there. Across our inland valleys, 70s hold on tight each afternoon all the way through Friday. They start to drop off as that wind event comes to a close by Saturday into the middle of next week. Mainly upper 60s is what we'll expect in the forecast. And then across the mountains and deserts where the warmth normally would be, they're going to regain some normalcy. Remember, we talked about those winds dying down tomorrow, Thursday. So they'll get back to the mid 60s across the mountains. They'll lose some of that momentum going into Friday as those winds pick back up again. And then those winds die down by Saturday. So it's a bit of a roller coaster ride, and up and down there as far as your temperatures go for each afternoon. Going into the weekend and the beginning of next week, mainly upper 50s, low 60s out across the mountains. Upper 60s, low 70s for the deserts. Dry skies continue through about Tuesday. Again, that takes us through about the middle of January at this point with dry skies on hand. We know there's a lot going on. There's a lot to pay attention to. If you're focused on the LA area, there's a lot of resources to have. CBS.com. CBS LA has a lot of resources. CBS8.com for San Diego residents should be the resource to go to. That's where you can find all of these graphics and much, much more on CBS8.com/weather. You can also download our free CBS8 streaming channel, CBS8 Plus. That's located on Roku TV, Fire TV, Apple TV. Remember, when we are not on the air, that's a good resource to have where you can watch our latest forecast, our latest newscast on demand. So the key message that we have going into the rest of the day today is going to be that high wind is peaking over the course of our Wednesday. It'll die down by Thursday, but could pick back up by Friday. Temperatures are on the warmer side of normal, and we're going to be watching for the possibility of reduced air quality, unhealthy for some groups, as we head through the next several days where that smoke from the LA area could move in our direction. We appreciate you joining us for the CBS 8 Plus extended forecast. I'm Evan Irani. Have a safe day out there.